the sound of the fan running quietly in the corner of the house. The wind flipped my shirt up to my bare hip. Your smooth white skin is beautiful. She is lying on the bed. Lift one leg and stretch the other one. The thin nightgown casually flutters down to her thighs. The little child is taking a nap at the foot of the bed. And my husband's phone. I've been turning off my phone all day from morning till now. She glanced at the wall clock and sighed. Nearly 3 o'clock in the afternoon. At this time, every day, PHC still checks the water pump behind the house. This old machine always malfunctions when the weather is dry. Every time you step onto the field, wet clothes sticking to your body, hair plastered with sweat. My eyes keep looking at you and then wandering off. You're such a naughty woman, as if you've just touched electricity. I'm not taking a nap today. I also didn't change my clothes as usual. She's still wearing the same thin dress she slept in since morning. Intentionally lying on my side, facing the door, so that when folk passes by, if you just look up a bit, you'll see everything. And then there was the sound of a bicycle braking sharply in front of the gate. The footsteps are really light. A shadow faintly imprinted on the wall. She's not moving at all, but her lips are slightly curved upwards. PHC parked the car close to the wall. I awkwardly adjusted the strap of the flip-flop that had just slipped off. He glanced at the porch of the house, then looked down at the field and wiped the sweat off your forehead. The sunshine is not too intense, but it makes people feel restless. You softly call her, "Sister, I'm here to check the pump." "Go in, I didn't lock the door." Your voice sounds soothing and gentle. As light as a feather, but enough to make your heart as tangled as a knot. Push the door and enter, but I still don't dare to look straight into your eyes. But when my gaze swept past the bed, you deserve a kind sister who is still lying down. Long hair and fair skin stand out against the dark background of the pillow. A thin, silky nightgown that hugs every curve. The chest gently rises and falls with the rhythm of breathing. PHC turned red and hurriedly left. But that image has stuck in his mind, as if carved with red charcoal. The pump isn't working anymore, right, sister? You ask in a harsh tone. Yeah, I've been opening it for a while, but I can't see anything. Maybe it's blocked again. Sis, sit up with your hands. Intentionally leaning to make the dress fall a bit more. The bare shoulder is peeking out. Fack hurriedly turned away, but Ty was already blushing brightly. She stepped out of bed barefoot and went out to the yard. Every step, the dress swayed along with her hips. The boy followed, his eyes lowered, but each sound, the sound of a dress rustling. The gentle, steady breath sound goes straight into my ears. There is a well made of rough bricks in the corner of the backyard. Next to it is the machine. The old pump is placed on the concrete base. Check it at the last minute. I'm carefully turning the screws and looking at the joints. If you're nice, sit down on this old wooden chair. Pull your skirt over your knee and look at him. This machine leaked water several times before. I remember, didn't you ask? Yes, I remember that day when I got soaked in water. PHC smiled lightly, but didn't dare to look up. Yes, I got wet and didn't ask you to bring a towel. Hide it very well, okay? Her tone is a bit playful and teasing. Fuck is laughing, his hands are still turning the screws, but his heart is beating wildly. So if I get wet again today, do I need you to dry me off?" the lady asked in a soft voice, as if pouring honey. PHC looked up and briefly caught her sister's gaze. The eyes of a 36-year-old woman. A sparkle of light, as if something is quietly burning. "You're always joking, and you stutter a lot." "I'm not kidding." She leaned back in her chair. "Tilt your head to reveal your slender, sweaty neck. What did your husband do in the past?" Each drop has also been wiped clean. A moment of hesitation. "My hands are a bit shaky, but I've finished tightening the screws. Now, let's try turning on the machine." "What's that pumping sound?" And then water is spraying out of the pipe. A streak of water splashed back, soaking wet, and the boy's apple. "Oh my God, I'm soaked." She stood up abruptly. "Take a quick step and grab the towel hanging by the door." "Give me that." I'm half joking, half serious about your accent. My hand unconsciously touched your chest, gently rubbing it. Feel a slight rush of happiness, but don't shy away. Eye contact. The distance is so close that you can clearly smell her skin. The smell of sweet shower cream. There's a faint smell of sweat after lunch. The smell that when you inhale, you don't dare to breathe deeply. "I can clean it myself, sister." PHC is confused, but Tay is still standing still. She smiled lightly and pulled the towel back. But intentionally. "Let my hand glide a bit slower across your chest." She turned away, but her gaze still lingered behind. Folk stood there like a statue, his chest heaving. "If you have any problems, call me. I'm going to change clothes for a moment." Her voice softly trails off behind me. The door is opening and closing. Folk is standing in the yard, sweating profusely but feeling chilly. Not because of the water. But for some reason, something just flashed across my mind. As if someone gently touched it with the tip of their finger. Then withdraw and leave itching all over the body. An image from earlier popped into your head. Fair skin, half serious, half playful eyes. And the voice poured into my ears like the wind blowing through a thin reed. For the first time in my life, you don't know that you're a mechanic. Or are you falling into a woman's trap? A sweet and tempting trap that's very hard to get out of. Wash your hands for 1 minute under cold water. But the heat in my body still won't go down. Your hand just touched my chest. It's still as vivid as yesterday. It's not an accidental touch. It has something soft and warm. And it took so long to leave, as if intentionally leaving a mark. The door inside the house opened, and PHC looked up. She stepped out in a different outfit. A pair of thin black silk pants and a tight t-shirt. Your hair is still wet, falling down your bare shoulder. The last rays of the sun shone brightly on the porch. There are still drops of water on my neck. She is holding a broom to sweep the yard. But the lazy action, just gently swing a few times, like Cho does. Every time you bend over, loosen your shirt, revealing a voluptuous chest that's been squeezed. Every time the wind blows, I can faintly smell your body odor. Soft and gentle. As charming as knitting a tight wool thread round your heart. The pump is working well, right? She asked why I still can't look up. This is Fuck nodding his head. A hoarse voice. Yeah, it's probably a throat infection. I've already taken it off and washed it clean. You're so good at it. I'm glad you made my sister smile. That laughter made his throat feel dry and scratchy. She stood her ground and fought back. My gaze swept across his face, which was gradually turning red. "Are you tired? Have a drink of water to cool down." A moment of awkward nodding. "You go into the house after my sister." I don't dare to look at it for too long. Enter the soft waist and back part in the front. But I just can't leave. There's something in your head that seems to be growing bigger and bigger. A feeling of both guilt and irresistibility. It's like stepping into a room with a strange fragrance. The more you smoke, the more addicted you become. She poured water and gently placed it on the table. Looking straight ahead. "Sis, I'm really asking, what were you doing just now? Can you look at it?" Choke again. The hand holding the glass of water paused in mid-air. "You didn't answer." She walked closer and gently pushed his shoulder. My eyes sparkle at something shiny. "Why don't you answer?" "Hey, I wouldn't dare, but do you want to take a look?" The space fell silent for a moment. Only the sound of the fan spinning softly in the background is left. But PHC swallowed and looked down. But the red ears are blazing. The awkwardness of a young man. Being a good sister makes me feel very strange inside. A woman's instinct that has been starved for a long time. Now, I feel like a sleeping beast that has been awakened. But the person who woke it up. I'm just a step away from you, sister. I know, sister. The boy that you're talking about speaks in a slow, whispering voice. How could I not want to look at a beautiful woman? You're so happy, look up. Your eyes seem to be on fire. But I'm still holding on to something. Timid and full of contradictions. You didn't say anything, so I don't need to listen either. I just want to see those eyes. That look is both eager and scared. I don't blame you, I just tilt my head. Even if you want to look again, I won't stop you. I stretched for a minute and then stopped. The invisible boundary between two people is like a thread. Just a slight pull and it breaks. Outside, the wind is blowing into the porch. A curtain flutters in the wind, reminding me of Buddha. She stepped closer. Bending down, I gently lifted his chin with a blessed smile. You looked at her. Your eyes are as sparkling as the early morning dew. You know, it's been a long time. Her voice is a bit shaky. You shouldn't let AI look at you the way I do. You didn't say anything. She gently touched his cheek and then withdrew her hand. As if I'm afraid of going too far. But before I could leave, he grabbed my wrist. Don't speak softly, but definitely don't withdraw your hand. My throat is getting dry again. Your hand is holding my neck, but you're not squeezing it too tightly. But sturdy. The gaze is no longer evasive. You stand up. My eyes still can't leave that woman who has now become a man. She took a step back, her back hitting the wall for a moment. You're still silent. Your hand touched my bare shoulder. Feel a rush of electricity running down your spine. Both of them are not moving. Only the breath becomes heavy and unsteady. I feel my heart pounding in my chest. Happy to look up and get closer. So close that your breath is on my neck. So close that I can feel it clearly. The other person's heartbeat is in sync with mine. I won't push it away, and I won't avoid it either. She just gently closed her eyes. And then his lips touched her neck. Light as a dragonfly landing. In the middle of a quiet afternoon. That touch made me shiver. Eyes wide open, hands firmly grasping the wall behind her. But the body can't back down anymore. On the contrary, please tilt your head a bit so you have more space. The smell of a young man's body mixed with the sun. The smell of a woman who has been neglected for too long. For sisters, let PHC gently kiss their necks. Go down to the collarbone and then stop at the edge of the shirt. The worm in your sister is not because of fear, but it's because of something very instinctive. Something that a woman, once she touches, can't back out of anymore. Put your hand on his chest and listen to his heartbeat. Sister, I don't know why hand PHC is doing this, but I just can't help it. She looked straight into his eyes. The eyes of an 18-year-old boy. Eyes that never age. But it's so real that it makes my heart flutter. I don't need to know why. You whispered the same thing too, sister. You're holding my hand tightly. And for the first time, let me lean entirely on someone else's heart. He's not my husband. A son who is just old enough, just young enough and very skilled at making women feel weak. You are standing still in the embrace of fortune, clearly feeling the young boy's chest heaving. Press my back. There's no music and no more words either. The whole house fell into silence. Only the sound of the fan spinning slowly is left, in harmony with the pounding heartbeat. In the chest of two people. Outside the courtyard, the leaves of the trees in front of the gate are gently rustling. The wind blew in, causing the thin curtain to flutter, bend slightly to one side. The last rays of sunshine are slipping through, clearly seeing every speck of dust floating in the air. And in that gap of light, two bodies standing close to each other, silent but full of hidden meanings. You should put your face on her neck for a minute. Your breath is so hot and urgent that it's burning my skin. A slight burning sensation. She gently tilted her head to the side, not avoiding but rather inviting. Your skin behind your neck is very smooth. The fragrance of the shower gel is still lingering. The boy gently placed his lips on it, very softly. I'm afraid I might scare you. But you didn't flinch. On the contrary, she sighed very slowly. Then, put your hand on the neck of the person you're hugging around your waist. PHC, your voice is as soft as a whisper. You didn't answer. You just gently squeezed my hand and pulled me a bit closer. It's as if I'm afraid you'll disappear right at that moment. You shouldn't be like this. You're speaking, but your voice is not clear. It's not a rejection, but it's just like a gentle reminder to our conscience. The woman is getting weaker. It's been too long since I've been able to embrace someone. I know happiness is whispering behind your back, but I don't want to stop, sister. Your hands are shaking, not because of fear, but it's because of the feeling of being truly desired. So eager that people dare to hug me, dare to touch, dare to say what's on your mind. Bente PHC gently touched her waist. The woman's curves beneath her thin silk blouse made him lose control. Your hand didn't slip too far. Just quietly. Stop at the place where a man was once your sister's husband. It's been a long time since I've touched it. The two sisters turned around to face PHC. Our eyes meet, so close that we can count each other's eyelashes. In that moment, nobody laughed and nobody said anything. But it feels like both of them know. All boundaries have been blurred. She gently stroked PHC's cheek with her hand. The young man's face is warm and inviting. Tough but also delicate. The smell of sweat and the lingering scent of the sun on the skin. That smell makes my throat feel constricted. She leaned forward, her forehead touching his. "You're not young anymore, sister," she whispered, closing her eyes. "You've never been as beautiful as you are now." Fook answered in a confident tone. The sentence made her open her eyes. Looking deeply into the eyes of a young man who is full of determination. "Your heart is beating so fast. No one has said such words to me in all these years. No one has ever looked at you like that. But not out of pity. It's not just for momentary satisfaction. Those eyes are strangely innocent and pure. But it's also instinctive to a frightening extent. Last minute, putting my lips on your lips for the first time. A really gentle kiss. But I clearly felt the trembling in your body. And even within ourselves, your tongue gently touches the edge of her lips, as if inviting her. Sister, open your mouth to receive it." And then everything seemed to be swept away by the flood. Two arms wrapped around each other. Lips seeking lips, breathing heavily. Don't hesitate anymore. But I've started searching instinctively. Sister, pull back gently and follow. Step by step towards the bedroom. The baby is still sleeping soundly in the room. The fan is still spinning steadily. Please close the door gently. Pull the curtain that separates the child's bed from the corner of the big bed. This side, Fook is standing still. Look around. My gaze lingers on the wedding photo hanging on the wall. The man in the photo is my husband, hugging my waist affectionately. Both of them are smiling happily under the canopy of paper flowers. I'm afraid you might ask about touching someone's chest. I'm scared, but I want you to answer without taking your eyes off me. Sit down on the edge of the bed, sister. Tay grabbed Fook and pulled him down to sit. The two of them sat right next to each other. The breath is still rapid, but not in a hurry. She gently squeezed his thigh with her hand. The feeling of stability under the fabric layer. It makes me feel out of control. PHC leaned down and kissed her shoulder. The lips lightly glide from the shoulder bone to the neck. Then, I gently leaned in towards her chest. Reach out and pull you closer. The sound of silk fabric gently rustles. And when the blessed hand reaches into the garment, touching real skin, she bit her lip to keep from crying. It's been 4 nights since I've been able to touch that person. It's been so long that even a slight touch makes me feel overwhelmed. Then, Fook gently laid her down on the bed. Your shirt's back has been pulled up, revealing soft, smooth skin glistening with sweat. You kissed each and every spot. Not in a hurry, not greedy. But it feels like exploring a land that has just been neglected. She gently closed her eyes, placing her hand on her neck and gently massaging it. The author is just being playful, and the lady is still sleeping. Feck nodded slightly. You understand. Not because of fear, but because it's the reality of being clumsy. It's the very risk of being discovered, making each of their touches become urgent. But I have to suppress it. Eager but not making a fuss. It's that very choking feeling. Make every sensation explode multiple times. A woman's hand slowly slid down my back. Pull you close to me. They are no longer adults and young men. No longer being the sister-in-law of AI and the younger brother outside. They are now two people looking for each other amidst the scarcity. In the midst of a prolonged dry season, among those who never dared to speak their mind, a gentle gust of wind outside. A few leaves have fallen from the tree in the yard. There's only the sound of quiet breathing in the room. The sound of silk reeling is chaotic and disordered, and a lively beat. The two of them are letting their instincts guide them. On the wall, a quiet wedding photo, witnessing the truth that has never been named. And that afternoon, it's the first time I've let someone else do it. Besides my husband touching my body, with our eyes, with our hands, with all the clumsy longing that has been dormant for so long. That afternoon seemed to last forever. When the sun has completely set behind the bamboo grove at the end of the village, a small room in an old, run-down house, still silent, as if nothing had ever happened. Happiness is lying down with your head on your arm. Open your eyes and look up at the fibrous cement roof, where a gecko is motionlessly sticking to something. The sweat on your back hasn't even had a chance to dry yet. But my sister is still quietly lying on her side, turning her back to me. The messy nightgown, a smooth, bare back, still clearly printed. That AI just rubbed along a length full of instinct. You didn't say anything, but her shoulder gently lifted with each breath, light as the sound of leaves falling in the yard. This small house is not soundproof. Just let AI go through the gate. The sound of flip-flops on the cement is also very clear to hear. Just let the child squirm and fidget. Both of our hearts will leap to our throats. And yet, this afternoon in that dimly lit room, no one backs down. They touched each other with a deep longing. And now, no one dares to speak up. Fak raised his hand to touch his sister's shoulder, but then hesitated. In the dim light of dusk, she suddenly spoke up. So quiet that you have to lean in to hear it. I'm happy. Do I have any regrets? No, I don't. The boy turned around. My gaze is fixed on the curve from her neck to her waist. No, you replied in a surprisingly deep voice. I don't regret it, but I feel sorry for you. She turned her face with a bit of surprise, not sparing any effort. I regret not doing this sooner. The words that came out made her fall silent. My lips and eyebrows twitched for a moment. There's something fleeting in her eyes, like water rising and falling very quickly. Then she softly smiled, a gentle yet sad smile. Are you stupid? Back then, I was just a kid who didn't know anything. How do I know what you need? Happy to sit up. Gently pull the blanket up to cover her bare back. That action took her by surprise. She turned her head and looked at him, her eyes suddenly becoming gentle, almost soaked. Are you cold, sir? No, sister, I'm just feeling foolish. Why are you so stupid? Because I've been living like a shadow for so many years. She sat up and leaned against the wall. Gently pulled the hair to one side. It's been a long time since I remembered someone hugging me, and it's you. Looking at you makes me happy. My gaze is no longer as shy as it was in the beginning. That young boy just went through a tough time. But from then on, everything looked different. You're no longer just an older cousin. No longer a married woman. But it's a body, a soul. A woman. Once patient, and now I know how to breathe heavily in my hands. Sister, you're so beautiful, PHC said it very quietly. She laughed, and didn't feel as shy as before. What's so great about it? It's already starting to get soft. I have a lot of belly fat, and my breasts are not as firm as they were when I just got married. I don't need those things. You interrupted me. I just need you to look at me with the same eyes as before. She paused for a moment of silence. Then she pulled his head back and placed her lips on his chin. A very gentle, very soft kiss. A kiss that doesn't feel like a woman kissing her lover. But it's like someone who just lost themselves. Learning to be gentle with my emotions again. I'm already dead inside. My sister suddenly heard a faint barking sound from a dog outside the alley. She was startled and quickly looked at the clock. 6 hours less. She got up and adjusted her dress, hurriedly brushing her hair. Wake up, my sister is about to wake up. If my mum sees me in this room, we're both dead. A frantic moment of pulling clothes. You're still not used to the feeling of leaving this place. Just intimate. But just a few seconds later, I had to pretend to be a stranger. Especially when your body is still burning hot. My lips still carry the scent of a woman's skin. The lady quickly ran to the kitchen to get some water and a wet towel. Pretend like you just cleaned the house. Bless and follow. I glanced at my sister's figure from behind. That waist of yours was lying under your body in the afternoon. So soft that you don't want to pull it out. Sister PHC, can I come again tomorrow? Please stop the wind outside the porch from blowing the curtain up. The afternoon light shines faintly into the kitchen, tinged with a reddish-orange hue. She turned away and didn't answer right away. She pursed her lips and spoke softly. I just need to know how to knock on the door. I won't open the door for AI, and my voice is getting softer. But if I knew how, I would open it. How can you get closer and ask a question in a whisper? She looked deeply into his eyes. Smile. Gently tap the wooden table twice. Only 2 hours, but it's like a signal. A password. Not far away, the sound of flip-flops echoed loudly in the yard. The little one is awake and looking for Mom. Please turn your back. Just in time to bend down and pick up the child. Wipe its face and soothe its mouth. A minute of standing still and looking at the two of them. She gently hugged the child in her arms like any other mother would. Everything looks serene and tranquil. Pure. It's as if there's never been an afternoon that felt so chaotic. Because of the young man's gaze. The boy walked out the door and gently pushed the gate. The bicycle is leaning. The cake in front is still slowly spinning. Before leaving, he paused to look at the porch of the house. The kind woman is patting the baby's back. I suddenly looked up and saw you. You don't laugh. Not even blinking. Just gently tap your hand on my thigh twice. Clank, 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 pedaling a bicycle with a troubled heart. But the lips are smiling very lightly. That night, my sister didn't go to bed early. Your husband still hasn't called. I've sent messages since this morning but haven't received any responses yet. The child is sleeping. The fan is still spinning. The cricket chirping in the garden is still as lively as it has been on every clear night. She is lying on her side. Gently rub your hand down to your still present waist, leaving a mark on that young boy's hand. For the first time after many years, she feels like she's become a woman again. Not a wife. She's no longer a mother, but a woman. A woman can make that AI tremble. Just with a glance. And that's wrong. It's so sweet that I don't want to stop. Since that afternoon, The afternoons in my sister's house are soothing. It's no longer a quiet period. Bored as before. But the room is still the same. The bed is still covered with an old, worn-out striped blanket. The fan is still spinning loudly. But there's always a hint in the air. A very special kind of excitement. It's as if there's an AI holding its breath, waiting for a knock on the door. Life is tough, but happiness still comes. Every day, there's a reason. Today, they're saying the water pump isn't working properly. The other day, they said the pipe needs to be Sometimes, there's just no reason at all. Just cycling around and around. Then, suddenly dropping by with a shy smile. At first, you were nice and even asked, but later you stopped asking. You know when you're waiting for me. That afternoon, the sky was calm, the wind was still, and the clouds were dark, but it didn't rain. Happiness comes later than usual. You walked the bicycle parked at the end of the neighborhood, as if afraid of the sound of a sudden victory. The creaking sound might trigger AI. Just as I slipped through the bamboo fence, he didn't come right away, but stop at the bedroom window. The gap between the two planks has not been closed tightly yet. My sister is brushing her hair inside. Turn your back to the window. Long hair flowing down almost to the waist. The strapless top has completely fallen off one side, revealing a back as white as a lotus flower. That scene made Fuchs stand there, stunned. You didn't knock on the door. She gently tilted her head and gathered her hair. Make slow movements. Then she stopped as if realizing something. Without turning back, she just whispered, "No, ha." My younger sibling was startled. "Why do you know I'm standing here?" You can hear Tim's voice. He blushed and walked out onto the porch. Stand for a moment and then gently knock on the wooden wall twice. The door doesn't open with your hand, but with a glance. When you stood there, your hair was still wet. The smell of shampoo is still lingering. A direct gaze that seems inviting, but also very in control. PHC walked in without saying anything. I'm not asking either. All words have now been left behind by the body. 10 minutes later, they were already lying together without needing many gestures. Just a few glances. A gentle squeeze of the hand. It's enough to put both books together. Like a stream flowing to the bottom of a well. Sister, lying down with long hair, her eyes are half closed on the pillow. As for PHC, he doesn't seem like an 18-year-old boy anymore. Your hands are not shaking, your lips are not stuttering. Every move is certain. As if I'm used to exploring your body. Yes, just take it easy. She whispered, her hand tightly gripping her shoulder for a moment. When you bend down to kiss along the collarbone. Yes, your hot breath is gliding across my skin. 3 beds creaking softly, following each rhythm. But it's steady and smooth. No hurry, no rush. It's as if both of us are learning how to plant a crop again. After a long drought. Must be gentle. Only when the right person is in charge can the land bloom and the water rise. She softly groaned and bit her lip. Her eyes opened for a moment. Look at the ceiling, where the cobwebs are swaying in the wind. A gentle breeze is coming in through the window. I no longer feel guilty. I'm no longer worried about having a husband. How much older am I than you? At this moment, I only see one thing. I'm living my life to the fullest. After a long time, we finally got together. Both of us lay quietly for a minute, resting our heads on your hand. Close your eyes and breathe slowly and steadily. Sister gently rubbed my back. You follow the instinct of a person who has been a mother. Once upon a time, a person was sleeping. But your gaze is no longer there. It's also the gaze of a mother. It's deeper, wetter, and an invisible fear creeps in. Miss PHC softly called, "Yes, sister. Do you think, will your husband come back unexpectedly someday?" She's silent and then nods. What else? She turned her head and lightly touched her forehead, then stopped. Fook didn't answer, but he held her hand tighter. Yes, I know, even though you're saying stop. But I'm not sure my heart can do it. Because the more clumsy attempts become indispensable. Every afternoon, there's no knock on the door. I'm feeling restless and anxious. Like an addict. Missing a touch is a restless person. I suddenly feel that I'm becoming dependent on you. About a boy who is still growing up. But you should be the one teaching him how to restrain himself. And not for you to teach me how to let go. The sunlight outside the yard is getting dimmer. The wind carries the smell of kitchen smoke. And the sound of children calling each other to eat dinner. Sounding from the end of the alley. PHC sat up and put his clothes back on. I quietly asked if you're at home tomorrow. She smiled faintly and said that if I knew how to knock, the door would open. You're happy, aren't you? He leaned down and kissed her forehead again. Then quietly retreat through the back door. She's lying down with her eyes fixed on the ceiling. On top of that, a gecko is still sticking firmly without moving. But everything has started moving in my heart. The house has a man who has lived there for a long time. Days away from home are usually cold. But now it's hot again. Not because of summer, but because of that feeling. The name THM keeps burning every piece of flesh. Every time that AI hits the right spot in my heart. I don't know how long this game will last. But you know, I'm not the same person I used to be anymore. She is already a woman who owns land and water. And I've started to get used to the plow of a clumsy thief. The chirping of cicadas at the start of summer feels like it's coming from inside the tree trunks. But it's getting more and more intense. That afternoon, my sister was washing clothes outside in the yard. The fan is gently swaying as the sun begins to set. A silver BA shirt, wet with sweat, sticking closely to the chest. The flap of the shirt was blown by the wind and stuck to my soft hip, making your figure appear faintly through the fabric. Both modest and revealing, both elegant and alluring. But I still haven't heard the familiar knock on the door. PHC didn't come today. Every time you're absent, time seems to slow down. Every second in that empty house. Keep prolonging it so ruthlessly. The pillow next to my sister's bed is still indented. As if I can still feel the boy's touch. Every night, I always look over there. Sometimes it's just a habit, but deep down we're restless. Your husband is still nowhere to be found. The kind of man who drives the northern route. I work all year round without a fixed schedule, making me gradually become numb to the act of waiting. Hasty calls. Please answer these irrelevant questions for me. Both of us have gotten used to not needing each other too much. The only difference is in my heart now. There are others who need it. No need for many words. Just one look. Looking right at the skin that has been dried out for a long time. It's enough to make me feel alive. Gradually let go. I was just about to get up and bring in the clothes. Then I heard a clanging sound outside the fence. the sound of a bicycle pushing slowly. You push the car into the yard. The white shirt is already wet on one part of the back. The collar is messy, and the wet hair is sticking to my forehead. Just saw you and PHC laughing awkwardly, waving at me. I'm really busy today. The cow at Aunt Emaine's house escaped from the pen, and I chased it all afternoon. You didn't say anything. Just nod silently and bend down to collect clothes. The flap of my shirt accidentally touched your cool, trembling hand. You should go inside without waiting for Theo. But before reaching the door, she suddenly stopped. The wind in the late afternoon blows through the old tile roof. Gently pull the window curtain. In that breeze, the nightgown hanging behind the door flew up, turning everything upside down like the invisible hand, calling back a very recent memory. She stood still for a moment and then softly said, "Come in." Blessing step by step. Not in a hurry, not rushing like the first few times. You go into the house as a habit. A place that has been ours for a long time. She sat on the edge of the bed, looking out the window. The afternoon sun shines brightly on the curtain. Dye the room. The room is filled with a passionate color, like a fire about to burn. Two people sat down next to each other. Even if I don't touch you, I can't turn back. Both of us are silent, as if we're listening to each other's breaths. She said a moment later, "Today, I dreamed that my husband came back." "Why are you so startled? Are you scared?" "Don't turn around, our eyes will meet." She woke up and found herself alone. She's just scared, but that gaze makes fuck can't help it. You gently took her hand. Your fingers are thick and warm, but they're slightly shaking. Women are accustomed to doing laundry and cooking. Now, I feel stressed for another reason. And PHC gently placed his lips on the palm of that hand. I don't know what else to do besides coming here. That's enough, sister. Pull his hand and put it on your cheek. For the first time, fuck wasn't the one taking the initiative. But it's her who is putting her arm around his neck. Pull it closer to your lips and find his lips. Soft but full of longing. This kiss is not hurried and not instinctive. But it's the affirmation that that woman has chosen to let go. Let go of all boundaries. Help me put her down for a minute. You unbutton your shirt. Put your hand behind my back. Looking for a familiar curve. She's panting heavily, her hand tightly grasping his shirt, her eyes closed. The smell of the sun, the smell of sweat. The scent of a young man's body closely intertwines with the smell of his skin. The woman just washed her hair. The air in the room feels so stuffy. They are clinging to each other. Every touch is slow, every kiss is deep. There are no words. Only the intermittent breaths remain. And the sound of fabric rubbing against skin. When your body receives him, both of them softly groaned. It's not about pain or satisfaction, but about liberation. A creaky bed, but nobody cares. The sound of cicadas is still loud outside. The barking of a dog echoed from afar. The smell of cooking from the neighbor's house is coming through the window. It's still a peaceful countryside. But in that room, it's a busy season for sowing seeds. He kissed her neck and gently bit it. She clenched her hand on his shoulder. That bite was just strong enough to wake you up. But it also makes me not want to leave. After everything calmed down, they lay quietly. She tilted her head, her hair cascading down, covering half of her face. gently stroking the chest, following a small circle. "Do you think this will last long?" she asked without looking into his eyes. PHC grabbed her hand and placed it on his chest. "I don't think anything at all. I just want to know when I can see you again. I still want to come on that day. You're smiling with tears in your eyes, so you'll wait, right? But what if one day I don't come anymore? Can you please stop knocking on the door?" PHC nodded his head. "But there's something bothering you." She quickly got up and put her clothes back on. "My sister's flip-flops are clattering outside on the porch." She quickly fixed her hair and rubbed out a few red marks, still lingering on her neck. PHC is also in a hurry. But my gaze is still firmly fixed on her back. The child ran in and hugged his mother. The woman smiled and gently kissed the child on the forehead. Just a few minutes ago. She is still a woman lying in the arms of a young man. Let instinct churn up every patch of soil in my heart. But now, you've become a gentle mother. Just like everyone else. But only you and fuck no. Beneath that peaceful facade is a simmering season of sowing and cultivation. Things are getting bigger every day. Can't cut off the root, can't hide forever. The next afternoon, it suddenly and violently rained. Like pouring out everything that's been suppressed for several days. The sun is beating down on the tin roof, making a clanging sound. He threw something onto the porch, scattering several pots of flowers everywhere. I just watered it this morning at 10 o'clock. In the kitchen, she stood with her hands folded in front of her chest. Looking at the rain is like someone just listening to a sad song. But I don't know the name. The little one is sleeping soundly in the room, and the fan is still running steadily. The house is closed because of the strong gusts of wind. But in my heart, I'm still resisting stubbornly. It's been almost 24 hours since yesterday afternoon. I don't see the shadow of PHC. One message, oh, one knocking sound. I'm not used to this feeling. No, it's not the first time you've been absent. But it's the first time after so many intimate encounters. I feel like I've been abandoned. Everything was suddenly sucked out of my chest. Only the lingering questions remain. Are you tired? Are you bored, or has someone else noticed? She gently used her arms to embrace her body. The coldness of the rain seeps through the thin silk blouse, making it... I'm feeling irritated, but the real coldness is actually coming from within. From the feeling of emptiness. When a person was so clingy yesterday, suddenly disappeared without a reason today. But the sound of rain is still pounding loudly. Then, in the middle of that, there was the sound of a car braking sharply outside the gate. She was startled. It's not a familiar car sound. But the sound of running feet is really fast and frantic. Soaking a cup. She stood there, frozen with shock. Those two knocks echoed through the slightly open door. Even though it's small. But it's enough to make every cell in your body wake up. She hurriedly opened the door. Standing there for a minute, my clothes are soaked and sticking to my body. The little girl's eyes are red from being in the rain for too long. Not saying no. He walked in and hugged her tightly. Holding her tightly as if I'm afraid she'll melt in my hands. Sorry, I have a cold and my voice is hoarse. I had to take my mum to the hospital from early this morning and just got back now. I didn't have time to tell you. I won't ask any more. She just gently placed her hand on Fuck's back. That hug, that hushed voice made all suspicions vanish like smoke. I'm not angry, but I feel upset. Sister, why aren't I wearing a raincoat? She softly asked while still pressing her cheek against his chest. I'm in such a hurry, I'm just afraid you'll think the worst of me. She laughed softly, her eyes were a bit red, she's so naive. For a moment, I took off my clothes and stood shivering in the kitchen. Sister, give him a hair towel. Gently stroking each drop of water running down my cheek. The breaths of two people intertwined. Warming up in a cramped space. A simple kitchen with a small gay stove and a bottle of fish sauce. Several jars of seasonings. Suddenly becoming a refuge of those who are fleeing from the storm in their hearts. In the morning, my sister took her husband's old clothes and gave them to PHC to wear temporarily. When you slip your hand into the loose sleeve of a shirt, both of us are silent. There's something in your eyes that's both sad and resigned. As if knowing everything beautiful, none of them belong to us. The shirt that my sister used to wear, now I'm able to dress up as a young man. A bitter and ironic paradox. But you just won't stop. They sat together by the wooden table placed against the wall. The rain is still not stopping. Sister, please give PHC a towel to wipe his head. Each movement is slow and gentle. Just like a wife taking care of her sick husband. Put your hand in my hair. The smell of your shampoo still lingers on my palms. Make you swoon. I remember Fork said, her eyes are still closed. You know you're whispering like you're singing Rue. Do you miss me? She paused for a moment and then continued to wipe. I don't remember, but I miss it. PHC looked up at his sister as if he couldn't believe it. But that woman's gaze is so clear and direct. You're not lying. You really don't remember that childish infatuation, do you? But you're lacking. Missing you is like missing a part of my own flesh and blood. So what if I go now? She stopped and put the towel down. Then, learn to endure. The answer made Tim flinch. You shouldn't cry, make a fuss, or demand anything. But just say a simple sentence. As if parting is an obvious thing. Sister, sister, I don't want to go anywhere at all. You grabbed her hand and squeezed it tightly. I'm still young. In the future, I will have a girlfriend who is more suitable for my age. No one makes me feel the way you do. She smiled a gentle but painful smile. It's just because I haven't traveled much yet. At the last minute, I pressed my face against your palm. Kiss that palm. I've cooked rice, washed clothes, and taken care of my child. Now, it's that hand that's making your heart beat irregularly again. She put her hand on his head as if to soothe him. If you want, you can stay until afternoon. PHC looked up. Looking at you with the eyes of a child who just got permission to play. Add another slice. She stood up and walked back to her room, gently pulling the curtain back. No need to tell PHC that I have to go. Each step feels like stepping into a place that is both unfamiliar and familiar at the same time. Both excited and safe. The 3 old beds creaked softly as the two of them lay down. She pulled a thin scarf across her body. It's still raining outside, but it's not cold in the room. the warmth of two bodies entwining with each other. Happy in the thin blanket and the gentle, steady breath. But this time, they're not in a hurry. You should find out for yourself what's wrong with your body. You don't need my guidance anymore. Every stroke, every glance, a gentle bite on the shoulder. It's as if it's been memorized. Your body is no longer unfamiliar to me, but it's a familiar book. Each time we touch, I feel more and more infatuated. They hugged each other in the rain, slowly and gently. Not passionate, not intense, but soft like a pillow. Light as the wind, wet as the river at its source. How time flies. When PHC was getting ready to leave, she saw her offal the door. Don't forget to remind. Let me know next time if you're busy. He smiled, nodded, and gently kissed her forehead before pushing the exit gate. You come back and knock on the door to familiar times. Only then did she finally laugh. A smile as gentle as kitchen smoke. But after the door just closed, she is standing with her back against the wall. Take a good look at the wedding photo hanging crookedly on the wall. The husband's eyes in the photo are blurry and faded, covered by a layer of dust. But even if I don't clean, I still can't take it off. Because you know, not everything old can be washed clean. And not every stain needs to be covered up. There are things that we just have to let be, so that people will still remember that I once waited for it. Then let yourself go with AI. In a very long rainy season, it rained for 3 days straight. And then suddenly, it stopped as if it had never been wet. The blue sky is back, and the sun is even more intense than before. Sister, let's air out these thin blankets again. As soon as I hung it up, I heard the buzzing sound of cicadas in the garden. The air is so hot, it feels like a mix of sweat and kitchen smoke. My sister's apron is stuck to her hip, revealing a soft curve that's so captivating. But luck didn't come that day, nor the next day. You didn't ask. But in my heart, I'm counting each slow-passing afternoon. Until the third day, when you were cooking rice in the kitchen. Then there's a rumor that flashes through the alley like an arrow. PHC hasn't been seen for several days after he got beaten up. Heard that someone was caught sneaking around AI's house. When I hear that, my hands start to shake. Rice grains spill out of the bowl and fall clatteringly to the floor. Your chest is pounding not because you're afraid of getting caught, right? But because no one has clearly stated their house. Have you left the lunchbox out yet? Using the excuse of sending my child to my aunt's house, I then left the neighborhood. The dirt road leading to the house is still wet with tire tracks. The sky just cleared, but my heart is still raining. The house is located behind a simple bamboo grove. Only the old mother and the son are the pillars of the family. When you come to the door, don't lock it. But the sound of the room door just rang out. My mother is sitting outside on the porch, shaking several raincoats. You're looking for AI, asking in a slow, soft voice, your eyes narrowing slightly. She gently lowered her head and lied without blinking. I brought some cough medicine for Chofa. The other day, I saw him, her looking unwell. Ba looked at her for a moment and then nodded. He's probably still not asleep in his room. She walked in softly, making my heart pound like a thief. The door to the blessing room is slightly closed. the smell of hot oil and massage medicine mixed with the smell of damp fabric. You're lying on the bed with your back turned to the outside. One side of my face is still bruised. The left hand is rolling a tape. Have you put the warm water bottle on the side yet? You're so awesome, sister. But you came back. My eyes are still bright, even though they're a bit blurry due to the fever, when I see you. Those eyes suddenly froze, as if trying to avoid something. But then you gently raised your hand, signaling for silence. She closed the door and walked over to sit on the edge of the bed. Your hand feels so hot on my forehead. She took a towel to wipe the sweat, feeling choked up. You've already heard everything people are saying, and PHC is whispering. Really, you're speaking so softly, I didn't expect that. Sister, you're angry with me, aren't you? You're scared, aren't you? Bless and hold her hand, looking deeply into her eyes. They hit me because they saw me leaving my sister's house. Someone has been paying attention for a long time. You're so quiet, as if it doesn't surprise you at all. It's just that, sooner or later, everything has its price. You're so kind. PHC called her name for the first time, dropping the sister at the beginning of the sentence. Yes, if I say I really love you, would you believe me? That question made my sister freeze in midair. She didn't look at him. He just pursed his lips for a very long time and then looked down. Put a kiss on your forehead. So delicate that you're afraid to break the dream you're holding on to so tightly. Don't say anything, but listen to sister. She gently but firmly held his hand. Don't call me that way. Don't say you love me either. If you want, feel free to knock on the door. But don't let me hope for anything beyond the boundaries. But Feck is looking at you. Those eyes are still the ones that used to follow me every afternoon. But now, there's something tiring. Like the gaze of someone who knows they're not allowed to love. But still, I fell into the trap. Sister, why don't you believe me? It's not that I don't believe. She smiled with sparkling eyes. But it's my sister. I'm too old to believe in things as fleeting as a glance. Especially when it comes from someone who is 10 years younger than you. But is so happy to hold your hand tighter. A hoarse voice. So what do I have to do to make you believe? She leaned in and whispered in his ear. I don't need to do anything at all. Just live, and don't be foolish. Don't let AI hit you anymore. And if you still want to meet her, then never knock on the door when there are strangers outside. Fuck is blinking with red eyes. Today, I'm going to comb your hair. Those hands were still holding you in a trance a few days ago. Now, I'm stroking my hair like a gentle mother. But in your eyes, it's no longer just pure love. It's a mixture of longing for mercy and feeling powerless. She sat there until he fell asleep. Then, I quietly stood up, closed the door and leave like a shadow. Sitting outside in the yard, Mom is looking at something with her eyes. Half understanding, half suspicious. But I'm not afraid. It's the first time I've seen myself. There's no need to explain anymore. Because what they think might be right or wrong. But the feeling that you're carrying inside, then it's impossible to deny. She's on her way back. The wind blows strongly through the rustling bamboo, as if whispering, please pull back the collar of your shirt. Bite your lip lightly to stop the tears from flowing. I suddenly remembered the first afternoon you knocked on my door. Very light, but deep. Now, there's no need to worry, I've been open for a long time. But I don't know when I can finally put this behind me. Since the day Fook was beaten, no one saw you walk through my sister's gate anymore. Be good again. There's no longer a bicycle leaning against the mango tree. There's no longer the familiar knocking sound every afternoon. And there are no more lustful afternoons. The creaking sound of the bed in that cool house. People thought things had calmed down, but only sister knows. Fire won't go out until it's completely extinguished. After that, Fock decided to quit his job in the neighborhood. You help your mother sell goods at the local market. I leave early in the morning and come back late at night. Sometimes, you're so annoying. I see you're shopping for groceries. Wear a neat white shirt. My gait has become more graceful than before. The girls in the market are laughing and chatting lively. My gaze keeps glancing at you as you take each step. You looked and then drove away without stopping or calling. But when I got home, I feel like I've just swallowed something stuck in my throat. One afternoon, she was standing by the water tank behind the house. I'm wearing my old nightgown again. The hand is gripping so tightly that the fingers are turning white. How many times have you tried to burn it? That dress is full of memories. But then, each time I raise my hand, I feel it so soft and limp. There are things you want to get rid of more and more. And I'm getting more and more attached to you. The whole family is going to bed without the moon. The child goes to bed early. The whole house is very dark. Only the dim yellow nightlight on the altar is flickering. She lay on the bed, hugging the pillow next to her. The pillow that used to be warm and dented because of someone else. It's so boring and uninteresting. The two sisters pulled the blanket up to their chests, with their eyes open and their legs spread. The smell of soap in the pillowcase has faded. Only the strong smell of old fabric remains. Outside, the frogs are croaking obscenely, and the crickets are chirping non-stop. The familiar sounds. But now, it's become so unfamiliar that it's uncomfortable. What's strange is, in the midst of that silence, I heard something faint. Very small, like the sound of two knocks. Sister woke up. I'm not sure whether it's a dream or reality. But then there was an AI ball that just flashed past the small window. Slow and gentle, I didn't have time to think. Just quickly put on a thin jacket and step out onto the field. A strong gust of wind under the late setting moon. Fuck is standing there. In a dark-colored jacket, a floppy hat covering half of their face. You still look the same. Still those eyes. But today, there's something different in your gaze. Not hasty, not overly enthusiastic. But keep quiet. Calm as someone who has been away and has now returned. Carrying the memories tucked away in my heart. Sister, are you still awake? Feck asked softly. The woman nodded but didn't respond. But Tim's heart is pounding, but his facial expression doesn't show it. It's as if they're holding back something bigger than just emotions. I'll just stand for a moment and then leave. I know we can't be like we used to be anymore. But you're still quiet. You know, PHC looked deeply into your eyes. Every time I pass by your house, I always look away. But I know you see. Yes, sister, please speak up, I can't hear you. Every time I don't knock on the door, it's because I'm afraid you won't open it. You laugh sadly, you also touch me and hit me. The wind is so fierce. Blow the jacket and make the fur fly up to your hips. PHC walked over, took my hand, and then just kept it there. She's not pushing it away, but she's also not getting closer to it. I'm not here to ask for anything more. PHC said. Tay is still putting his hand on my waist. Sister, I still love you. I like that sentence. This time, you speak softly without asking or expecting anything. It's like I just need to speak up to free myself. Sister fuck, please turn your face away. You're a married woman. I'm a single man, and my sister is more than 10 years older than me. What you gave me wasn't love, but it's what you're lacking. But you know I need something else. I don't need anything at all. You interrupted my sister. Give me the feeling of living truly. Not out of pity, not to fill the void. But it's because you look at me like a man. She was taken aback by everything she had heard. This sentence makes me feel the most choked up. I'm a woman in her prime, aren't I? It's very easy to make a mistake. Sometimes we think we're in love, but it's just fear of our own fading beauty. But you're not over yet. When I leaned down, I whispered in your ear. As long as you're alive, you're still passionate. You still make others shiver when they touch you. She suddenly hugged him very tightly. Don't give up but because I understand that this is the last time I'm allowed to be weak. A moment of happiness in my hands. Both of them stood still in the middle of the yard under a moonless sky. Nobody said a word anymore. I won't drag you into the house. You didn't knock on the door again either. A moment later, my sister let out a sigh in front of me. Go away and don't come back. Don't knock anymore. And don't let my sister see me stopping the car in front of the gate. No begging, no pleading, no coaxing. You turn away, your shadow blends into the shadow at the end of the alley. The sound of flip-flops stepping on the damp ground sounds so harsh and unpleasant. She stood there, holding her clothes tightly and looking straight at the gate. Another wind blows by, carrying a strange scent. It's not a pleasant smell. It's not the familiar smell of sweat, but the smell of determination. For the first time, I understand what it means to let go. Not letting go of someone. But it's about letting go of the feeling that makes me relive it. Because there are flames that burn more intensely the tighter you hold them. After that night, Fook didn't come back anymore. There's no knocking on the door, no one flitting past the porch. There's also no longer that sneaky look from the neighborhood. Every afternoon, everything is as if it never happened. It's as if their story is just a sweet dream. So passionate, then fading into the bones, unable to leave a mark. Hopefully, you can get back to your old routine soon. Wake up, pick some vegetables, and bring them to the market. Cook rice in the afternoon, wash clothes in the evening, and put the baby to sleep at night. Ever since you told me not to hope anymore, everything suddenly became so monotonous and boring. The gaps between two meals suddenly feel so long. Nights spent tossing and turning. But there's not a gentle hand to hold. Suddenly becoming cold and ruthless. The two sisters are neither crying nor feeling upset. But there are nights when I'm startled because I think someone is knocking on the door. There are times when the wind blows through the porch. I thought it was a familiar breath next to my ear. And sometimes while setting the table for dinner, she is still stunned, about to add another cup. Then I suddenly remembered that I had told myself not to let anyone sit there anymore. My husband will come back in a week. A man who is very skilled. The clothes still smell like oil smoke and street dust. This time, I came back earlier than planned. Don't call without prior notice. When you push the door in, she is sitting and brushing her hair on the porch. Under the golden afternoon sun, your hair is so long that it touches your hips. Light shines through the silk blouse's back, making your body seem hazy and indistinct under the layers of fabric. The thing that I'd been missing for several months since leaving home. I don't remember how many times I've touched it. He stopped to look at her. For the first time after so many years of living together, he saw his wife. Women like that. Not the usual, stereotypical woman. But she is a woman with spirit. There are secrets and a deep area that no AI can enter. When did you ask him not to turn around? I just had a car breakdown on the road, so I had to take an early trip back. Sister, have you brushed your hair yet? Haven't you put your stuff in your pocket and come back yet? Is there anything left at the afternoon market? I still have a little dried fish to eat. She stood up and went inside the house. He looked at Theo's silk dress swaying with her footsteps. There's something weird. The house is still the same, but the people have changed. I don't know why. I just know I've just entered a space no longer completely belong to me anymore. I ate more than usual for dinner tonight. She rarely talks and the child clings to her mother. As for you, just quietly observe. Every gesture, every way you serve soup and pick up fish. Everything is softer than before. It's as if you've relearned how to be a woman. But it's no longer yours alone. For 4 nights, I've been hugging my sister while she sleeps. The breath reeks of alcohol. A big hand slipped into my shirt, looking for the familiar soft belly skin. But as soon as I touched her, she gently turned her body. Hold my hand again. I'm tired, you're not forcing me, but I also can't sleep. I tossed and turned all night. Something has changed in me. Very clear, but I can't touch it. The smell on your body is also quite different. There's no longer the smell of old perfume, but it's a very feminine, very lively fragrance. But it's no longer yours. The next day, it rained heavily. He sat in the kitchen, fixing the gas stove while muttering to himself. I was cooking rice when the phone rang. She left the bowl of rice and went into the room. He looked up at Theo. She closed the door and whispered, "Hello." He stood up and quietly approached the door next to Ty. But I can't hear clearly. I only heard my sister say yes. Please don't call at this hour. My husband is at home. Each word is like a needle piercing my heart. Back off, Est. Then, grab your raincoat, put on your hat, and take your bike to the gate. When she stepped out of the room, she saw him and froze. Where are you going? Let's go to the bar and have a few drinks. You don't need to ask anymore. Just looking at you, my eyes are as still as water. You didn't come back that night. Sister, have lunch with me, then we'll clean up and go to the room. The rain is still persistent. The sound of rain pounding on the tin roof, mixed with the sound of the wind whistling through the rows of palm trees behind the house. After lying down for a while, she got up and went to open the window. The wind is blowing cold on my face. I don't expect anything anymore, not even a knock on the door. Not expecting to see a familiar face. But then, amidst the rain, there was the sound of very light footsteps. When she turned around, my heart tightened. A familiar figure is standing under the mango tree. Wet and blurry without a hat. Bend your head in gratitude, sister, and hold on to the doorframe with both hands. I want to scream. I want to chase. I want to tell you to leave. But the mouth is not opening. Their eyes meet in the rain, on both sides of a sin. She shook her head very gently, then slowly closed the window again. But PHC was still standing outside for a long time, as if waiting, then quietly turning away. This time, I didn't knock on the door but didn't ask to enter. Just standing there to look and then retreat. In her house, she pressed her forehead against the door, tears streaming down her face. No one is good. But there's a part of my heart that's just been torn apart. Because sometimes it's not that we don't love anymore, but there's no longer a path to follow. And when the door has closed, then the heart. No matter how upset I am, I have to keep quiet. Since that rainy night, the handsome man completely disappeared from my life. Not even once anymore. You're standing under the mango tree, looking up at the window. There's no knock on the door. There are no wet eyes looking at you for the last time. Everything is quietly as if it never existed. It's as if happiness is just a dream. Summer has come quickly, burning brightly, and then fade away like smoke on a cold, rainy afternoon. I'm neither crying nor searching. You should go back to being a wife, a true wife. Do your duty properly, without asking, complaining, or crying. Your husband still goes out and comes back, still carrying the smell of smoke. I still roll over and sleep like I have for years. The nights when I hugged you and you lay still. The flesh is still warm, the breath is still steady. But my heart is colder than the stones at the bottom of a well. But only once, I turned around and kissed her on the neck. Recently, I've been feeling very attractive. She was so startled that she didn't respond. You keep laughing, looking for something on your body like a man in need. Rediscovering my wife after many months of separation. But the more I look, the more I find it strange. Everywhere I touch, it's as if someone else's hand has already touched it. Even though there are no marks left, the feeling is still very clear. You're still lying still. Not complaining, not seeking help, and not accepting it either. You just leave it alone. Like how people let a breeze pass through their shoulders. But I don't feel cold or warm. When I entered her, her body was still soft. Still tight. It's still enough to make me tremble, but my heart is empty. But after that time, don't touch her again. A scorching hot afternoon. She went to the market and came back. As soon as I parked the car in the yard, I heard a call from outside the gate. Miss, do you have a phone? She is the daughter of Mrs. Two, who sells groceries at the end of the neighborhood. Holding a worn-out mobile phone with a sun-glare screen. Sis, wipe your hands on your shirt and come out to pick up the phone. A male voice sounded from the other end of the line. You're a good sister, aren't you? Yes, ma'am, this is me. I'm a friend of Fuck. Do you know he had a car accident? You deserve to die. I'm currently in the district hospital. I'm calling the most recent number it saved. I don't remember how I got to the hospital. Only know when we get there. My hands are shaking so much that I can't even hold a helmet. In the cramped hospital room, there lies a person with a bandaged leg. Apply lip balm to dry, chapped lips. You're sleeping and breathing heavily next to the bed, but there's no... Mom is going to get medicine right now. She stood outside looking in, not rushing in. I have a feeling. as if everything you've been trying to deny is right there. I'm so weak and waiting for you one last time. Just as she was about to turn away, PHC slowly opened his eyes, his vision blurry. But as soon as I saw her, my eyes immediately lit up. You're trying to sit up, but Sister Lao is holding you back. Don't stay still. I thought you weren't coming. You chuckled softly. You smiled. You didn't come, but you've heard something about my brother, right? She sat down next to the bed, holding his hand. That young man's hand is still warm, but dry and rough. Not as soft as last time. They touched each other in the old room. PHC, you sounded so nervous. You shouldn't have come. But you've already arrived. Yes, because I can't take it anymore. She leaned her head on his hand. Tears are falling down those bony cheeks. PHC used his other hand to stroke her hair. Are you crying because you feel sorry for me, or because you feel sorry for yourself? She didn't respond, but she knows it's both of them. A while later, Fook quietly said, I will go somewhere, but you know where. I have a relative in the south who is calling me. I think it's time to leave here. Miss Bangha. I'm not going because I'm avoiding it. Fook continued speaking, but if we stay, I won't be able to let go. Why are you holding his hand so tightly, sister? His eyes are so fierce and intimidating. Do you want me to knock on the door this time? I'll laugh if you knock. I won't open. I'm afraid I'm not strong enough. She stood up to adjust the blanket for him. Your eyes are teary, but your voice is still steady. So, I promise I'll never come back anymore. If you've chosen to go, then go all the way. Don't come back. Don't look back. Don't let me see you in any more dreams. The boss didn't respond, just nodded slightly. When you step out of the room, the wind from the hallway swept through my coat, feeling like a needle prick. Outside, the sun is still blazing, and people are bustling back and forth. But in my heart, everything has stopped. In that room, with a young man who once loved, do it in a way that no one else has ever done before. That was the last time I saw PHC. Since then, I haven't heard any news about him anymore. If you don't ask, you won't find. Because you know if you still have news, my heart won't stay quiet. And there are relationships that should only be experienced once in a lifetime. Intense like fire and then fade away. We have to solve it completely. Otherwise, we'll burn what's left of a woman who has been unfaithful, have loved and have let go. That summer passed by so quickly, like the blink of an eye. The persistent rains of July gradually giving way to the crisp sunshine, stretching across the old tile roof. Time flows like water in a pond, quiet but deep. Follow the old memories deep into your heart. Nobody knows what's going on. Really happy, really. No news, no greetings. There isn't even a slight indication. You're still somewhere on this land. People in the neighborhood sometimes still mention your name. Like mentioning a young boy once got beaten for meddling in other people's affairs. But then the story also faded away gradually. Like everything else in this rural area. A place where people live in silence and endurance. Please don't tell AI about the things I've been through. The secret spring season. But I also didn't try to erase any trace. The small room is still the same. Thin blankets can still be washed and dried every week. There's still one pillow placed off to the left. The place that used to be blessed. You don't need to change anything because you know you don't need to. Every day, I live up to my responsibilities. Your husband, after that phone call encounter the other day. It seems we're not as normal as we used to be. But you didn't ask. Neither jealousy nor retreat. But on the contrary, you come home more often. Trying to take care of my wife, cooking and doing laundry. Sweep the yard and do all the things you've been neglecting. Throughout 15 marriages. Yes, but I feel tired. Because she understands the belated efforts. We can't bring back what's already dead. Like a flower that has fallen. Even if you replant the branch, it won't bloom again. One afternoon, my sister's husband was sitting on the couch. A slow and heavy voice. Are you still upset about PHC? Yes, the two sisters are standing in the middle of the kitchen without turning their heads. My sister's hand, which was holding a knife to peel a pumpkin, suddenly started shaking. Please continue speaking. Back then, I traveled a lot, I don't know why, but I wasn't blind. You know he's coming to my house. You know, there are days when I feel lost because he didn't come. Please put the knife down and look at me again. An unflinching gaze that doesn't shy away. There's only a look of resignation and exhaustion. It's as if the whole world can insult you. But it's you. Then there's nothing left to blame ourselves for. Do you know why you're not speaking? I know, because I'm not sure what you need me to say. Your voice is hoarse. You know you've been neglecting yourself. He's always away, treating this house as a place to pass through. The fault is only with me. She didn't cry, but her hands clenched the fabric of her shirt so tightly that it wrinkled. A moment later, he spoke slowly. But you're still my husband, and you're still the father of our child. If you still need me, I'll stay. And if I feel that I don't love anymore, you go, but those words aren't a threat. Neither forcing nor begging. It's a dignified surrender. And suddenly, I felt my heart sink. Here, I'm responding quietly. I don't love you in the same way as I used to. But I know if you leave, the little one will lose his father. As for me, I've lost everything. He stood up, approaching to extend my hand but not touching. Your voice is like a whisper. Do you still love him, her? It's not an easy question, but I'm not avoiding it. You don't look me in the eye, but I once loved you. He nodded, not jealous, not angry. Just gently bowing your head as if you've just accepted a loss. In a game of cards. But I've never dared to place a bet. Since then, he's been coming less often. But every time I come back, it's always warm and gentle. Nobody talks about the past. I'm not trying to rebuild my marriage either. They live like two friends raising a child together. Each person keeps a part of the distance. Neither too close nor too far apart. Today, I'm going back to the local market where people sell vegetables, buying fish sauce, and trading all the short stories at the stall. Sometimes, a woman sat at a stall, casually chatting. I heard that PHCB Nam is a guy. Now, I'm a refrigerated truck driver, delivering fruits to the provinces. You're quite wealthy, aren't you? I'm still picking vegetables, but my fingers are slightly shaking. Do you have a wife yet? Someone asked. I heard you're not single anymore. A woman smiled very softly, so softly that no one heard that smile. Not happy, not sad. It's just a reflex of someone who just heard their name again. A part of the memories that have been dormant in my heart. That evening, you're sitting on the porch while I'm asleep, and the gentle breeze is blowing through your hair. The sky is not clear. Only the thin crescent moon, as delicate as a thread, hanging in the middle. Then, She closed her eyes and let out a sigh. In my head, I imagine Fook is driving in the middle of the night. Through long journeys. The light is dim and hazy. Maybe somewhere you'll stop in a small town. Stop by a roadside eatery, wipe the sweat, and then continue walking. I don't know if there's ever... In the middle of a lonely bend, he remembered the small house. There is a woman who once opened the door for me to enter. Once held you in the midst of the end of the rainy season. I don't know, and I don't need to know. Because there are things that, no matter how beautiful they are, have already faded into the past. She sat there until the wind got cold again. When I stood up, I accidentally looked towards the mango tree. There used to be a bicycle leaning against it. There once was a young man's figure, standing and looking at the doorframe. Now, only the shadow of the fallen tree stretches across the brick courtyard. I'm tired and empty. I'm not crying, I'm just quietly speaking to myself. Bless you. If one day I come back here, don't knock on the door anymore. Because I'm afraid I'll open it again. And so, she walked into the house, closed the door, and turned off the lights. The room is getting darker. But my heart has become a bit brighter. Not that bright light. But it's the faint light of a woman. Have gone through storms and hardships. And brave enough to let go. Life just keeps going on, day after day, month after month. Like the calm surface of a pond. There is no signal. There is no loud noise. It's just occasional gentle breezes passing by. Why bother with a few leaves? But not enough strength to change the flow of things. She turned 37 that year. People say that women close to 40 will settle down. But you know very well that what you call him is just a facade. Deep inside are layers of longing. No one can touch it. Your body still has those quiet, tense nights. When I accidentally heard a young man laughing loudly. Somewhere behind the garden. Fuck was cooking one day. The smell of fried shallots suddenly made her feel choked up. Remember one time? PHC took a spoonful of soup and then made a face. Salty and delicious, salty and delicious. Just like their love story. One day, I accidentally received news from my cousin in the south. Is there a guy named PHC from my hometown who used to drive a refrigerated truck? She just had an accident and passed away, ma'am. You believe it, as lightly as a falling leaf. But when it fell, it hit right in my heart. My sister has an old room there. It's been a long time since I locked away the dusty memories. You didn't cry right away. She sat in front of the house for a very long time, looking towards a distant field. The wind pushes the clouds away. The sky is crystal clear, as if there's not a trace of what once was. She cooked a meal by herself, including a pumpkin fish soup, sauerkraut, and a bowl of chili sauce. A plate of rice for 3 people. My sister's child sits in the middle, and my brother-in-law sits at one end. You sit at one end. He looked at the rice plate and quietly picked up a piece of fish. Nobody said a word to anybody. Every night when I sleep, she sat in front of the mirror, taking off each hairpin one by one. Each layer of clothing, each heavy breath throughout the day. The skin is still white. The waist is still slim, but the eyes... You are no longer the eyes of a person waiting. It's deeper, colder. And I no longer need someone else's gaze to see myself as more beautiful. She opened the closet and took out an old nightgown. The dress that you once intended to burn. But in the end, I still kept it. Like holding on to a piece of memory that I don't have the courage to let go of. She put it on and stepped out onto the porch. The wind is blowing through. gently pushing the fabric of the dress as if an invisible hand is caressing it. Under the mango tree, there used to be a boy here, standing and waiting in the stealthy nights. Now there's only a small dent in the ground, the place of the bicycle wheel that was once deeply imprinted. She sat down on the bench and looked up at the sky. The moon is full tonight. It's cold but not harsh in the morning. The moon doesn't know who is still here and who is gone. Just know how to shine evenly for everything that is alive. She closed her eyes and whispered softly, "PHC, you didn't see me off. So today, let me send you off in my own way." The wind blows through the hair. Oh, one answer. But I feel like something in my heart has broken. As light as a sigh that's been suppressed for so many years, I've finally been able to get out completely. PHC didn't tell anyone about her first anniversary of her sister's death. I just bought a bunch of white flowers. Plug it into the rainwater bottle placed on the porch of the house. No photo, no altar. It's just a bunch of flowers, dedicated to someone who has passed away. Very fast, very short, but it leaves a mark for a lifetime. That afternoon, my sister's husband went to work in the township. The kid took a longer nap than usual today. She is standing in front of the mirror, changing her clothes, gently stroking the hair that has grown down to my back. My hand unconsciously opened the small drawer. Take out a piece of paper and fold it in half. A blank piece of paper. It's just an old student notebook. There's still a faint smell of ink. It's the only thing Feck left behind during his last visit to the institute. Open it and touch the middle of the page with your fingertip. It's nothing, but you can read everything. Unspoken words. The hugs we haven't had a chance to give yet. And all the dreams they could never pursue. Until the end. Please fold it and put it back in its original place and lock the drawer. That night was the first time after so many years. The woman took the initiative to bring her husband closer. Not because I miss you. Not because of greed. But because I know the person lying next to me is the one who will stay. The other person has already left forever. Your husband hugs you without asking or saying anything. It's just a tight hug from someone who used to let go. Now, I know how to hold on. Your heavy breath is next to my ear. But you don't feel stuffy anymore. Because it's the first time. You no longer carry another AI in your heart when you close your eyes. But the waiter has gone somewhere very far away. In a night journey or in an old dream. No longer a haunting. It's no longer regret, but a memory. A once vibrant spring that is now faded and wilted. She whispered softly in the darkness. Don't worry, I will live. As if I've never died once for you. In September of that year, the early autumn winds returned, drawing in the scent of dry straw and the fragrance of ripe rice. From outside the Lenfield, through each crack of the door, the lady is standing in the kitchen, looking out to the yard where they're eating mango. All the fruits have fallen off now. A barren field scattered with a few withered leaves. There's no bicycle shadow under the tree anymore. There are no more crumbs on the ground. But the image of a young man. Tall figure, bright eyes. Sweat-absorbent clothes often appear in treatment. Not as I wish. But it's like a reflex of a silent longing. One afternoon, my sister cleaned up the old storage room. The place where the pump used to be. For so long, the door handle has been left unused and is now covered in dust. When you push the wooden door, the musty smell makes my throat feel stuffy. She started cleaning. Every little item is cleaned and put away neatly. Go to a corner of the wall. She found an old worn-out wooden chair. It's the chair that PHC used to sharpen knives for my sister. The afternoon sun was shining in your face at that time. Make your eyes sparkle like water. She sat down and put her hand on the cold, rough chair surface. Like that very memory. There is a rusty box on top of the old window that you need to open. There are several ballpoint pens inside. A few pieces of paper that students folded up. And a blue plastic hairpin that has been scratched. Then she realized it immediately. The clip that my sister once wore on a rainy afternoon. I'm sorry for being late today. At that time, I just washed my hair and it was still wet. You sit and look at the little sister's hair. I don't dare to look directly. Then, he kept playing with that clip in his hand. And maybe it's not a good idea to bring it up now. It's lying here now. In the old box, like a hidden confession. She clenched her teeth so hard that they started bleeding. But the teacher's eyes are fierce. Because the pain is no longer flowing through my tears. She quietly put the clip in her pocket and locked the closet. Don't tell AI doesn't need to know. Recently, your husband has changed his behavior. You don't often come back late anymore. Not drinking much alcohol and not getting upset over trivial things. In the afternoons, I sit under the palm tree and drink tea. Read the newspaper and then invite me to play chicken with old beer cans. One day, when my sister had just finished setting the dinner table, my brother suddenly said, "I'm going to the beach next week, okay?" You're surprised. It's been so many years since you've taken me anywhere since we got married. The honeymoon is just a night at my parents' house. Sister kept repeating it as if she didn't believe it. Yeah, I'm the only one who sent the kid to grandma for a few days. I'm going on a long trip. She didn't respond immediately, but her heart fluttered slightly. That trip took place early in the morning. When the dew is still on the leaves. They got on the bus and went to the station. Then take the small train, transporting tourists to a deserted beach area. The sea is so beautiful and refreshing. The waves are gentle and not as noisy as the crowded tourist areas. She sits under the coconut tree, holding a glass of refreshing coconut water. Plug in the sand and let the wind blow. Her hair is flying around and she's wearing a thin silk blouse that's sticking to her body, revealing the soft curves of a woman's body nearing 40. But still, it's attractive. You sit next to me, gently stroking the tangled hair on her forehead. Your eyes are gentle, like a person who just learned how to look at their wife again, with eyes that are no longer naive. Brother, I'm very beautiful. Please speak gently and honestly. She turned away and he chuckled. I'll continue in a moment. I'm sorry. Because I've been feeling lonely for so many hours before I realized it. Not everyone who goes far is for making a living. Sometimes it's because we want to avoid confrontation. She didn't respond, just looked out at the sea. The waves are still gently lapping. But something in my heart started to calm down. That night, they rented a small room by the beach. The window opens to the sea. Breezy. The sound of the waves is like the long breath of the past. And we are currently intertwined with each other. Today, I stepped out onto the balcony. You're holding a glass of red wine that you bought at a street stall. I'm not used to drinking, but this time I want to try. Warm, slightly bitter wine. Like the hug I just gave you this afternoon. Not impulsive, not instinctive. but it's the hug of someone who has gone through a lot. Lonely enough to understand how to keep others by your side. When you walked out, I turned back and leaned on the railing. This guy, huh? If one day I'm not the same person as I was yesterday. So, do you still love me? He looked at her with a gaze. No longer the gaze of a man, getting used to my wife's clumsiness. But it's the gaze of someone who chooses to stay. After everything has been exposed. I love you. Even if I'm a woman who has lost her way. Because I have returned on my own. She laughed for the first time after a very long time. There's nothing to hide behind that smile. That night, they lay next to each other in a small room. For the first time, our bodies touched each other. But it's no longer an obligation. It's a real craving. Of two people who once lost each other. Found it again. She didn't close her eyes. She looked up at the ceiling. Imagine there's a star out there watching over me. It could be luck, it could be my true self at the age of 26. Under the soft yellow bedside lamp, my husband's hand slipped into my hair. Gently rub behind the neck. Then gently place it on her chest. The place where my heart is beating slowly. No longer feeling nervous or worried about being discovered. No longer in a hurry like those afternoons hiding from my husband. Hide from the village. You're just a light squeeze of my hand. Very light, but enough to keep you warm for a lifetime. And I understand that some relationships are made to end. But there are people who are born to learn how to love again after everything. The sea is still as blue as it was on the first morning they set foot on it. But something in my heart has changed. No longer the restlessness of suppressed desires. No longer feeling the thrill of waiting for a figure. Familiar with sneaking behind the gate. Every afternoon. You are now like clear water. There are still but it's quiet enough for AI to look into and see us clearly. I woke up earlier than you this morning, but the room was still quite dark. The light outside the balcony. Light shines through the crack of the door, casting specks of light on the gas sheet. Make the bed. She softly stepped outside, leaning on the wooden railing. Looking far away, the sun hasn't fully risen yet. Just a thin, faint orange line on the sea surface. Like a child's clumsy brush. Your hands still smell like a pillow. The smell of your hair and the smell of yourself. After a long night. To be loved again as a true woman. No need to run away. There's no need to listen to every footstep outside the yard. Not afraid of AI detection. We're just two ordinary people like any other married couple. But with you, that ordinary thing is a luxury. But for so many years, I've never had it. He stepped out and hugged her from behind, holding the title on my wife's shoulder. Why are you up so early? Yes, I want to watch the sunrise. We've been living together for over 10 years now. This is the first time I've seen the sunrise with you. In such a faraway place, huh? She nodded slightly. The wind blew her hair into his face. He gently smiled and brushed a few strands of her hair behind her ear. Those hands used to be rough and heavy in the past. I'm touching you again. It feels like touching something very fragile. Are you forgiving me yet? He asked in a deep, almost whispering voice. She was quiet for a moment. Should I forgive or not? Please speak slowly, sister. But I'm no longer keeping you in the shadows anymore. So, is there any luck? She looked out to the sea. The sun is starting to rise. The first ray of sunlight shone straight into her eyes. But she didn't blink. Anafek is a man who has walked into my life. just when I forgot that I'm still a woman. I'm grateful to that person. But I also know I can't live with someone like Pierre. I can't keep the fire burning without it consuming everything. He nodded and hugged her a bit tighter. Thank you for staying. She turned around and leaned her forehead on his chest. It's not that I'm staying, but we're going back together. After the beach trip, my sister changed quite a bit. Not as tough as before, but also not as weak. She does everything in the house, with a slower pace. Every morning, I make tea for you. Every night, she lies close to him, placing her hand on her husband's chest. Listening to the heartbeat that my sister used to know and then forgot. Knitting used to be associated with so many secret memories. It has now become a place for husband and wife. Let's renovate together. The new curtain has been hung up. The dressing table has been moved closer to the window. Place of light. The morning light is just enough to see in the mirror without being too bright. A thin white nightgown. She used to wear it on those secretive afternoons. Sister, don't burn. I'm not hiding anything either. It's still in the drawer. Among the other nightgowns, as a part of my sister. The part that once burned brightly has now gone wrong. Once loved with instinct and tears. I don't hide my past, but I also don't rehash it. Because I understand the woman who has been lost. What's important is not to complain. But I'm trying to find a way to go back. Several years after my nephew entered 4th grade. Once, he brought back a piece of paper from school. Write about the person you love the most. It's not about dad, it's not about friends, it's about mom. My mother is the most beautiful person, even though she rarely smiles. But every time mom laughs, I feel like there's sunshine in the house. I tell my mom that she works all day but still smells good. Mom doesn't have to scold, just looking at me, and I know I should be good. I hope mom lives long to play with me for a lifetime. She read it and bit her lip, not crying. But my heart just can't take it. At the end of the year, I cleaned out my closet. But when I turned to the last page, I saw that old blue lamb hairpin again. The only thing Fock has left in her life. The blank piece of student paper is still lying there. I am as delicate as a breath. It's been a long time since anyone called my name. She held it and stood for a moment in front of the porch. The sky was clear and the wind was gentle that day. Birds are chirping in the garden. She stepped out to the mango tree, under the shade of which the ground was already green with grass. There's no trace of what once happened. She put the clip and the paper on the ground. Then, dig a small hole with your hand. You buried it there, right under the tree where Feck once stood. I used to look up at you through the slightly open window. It's not about throwing away, but about burying a part of our memories. She filled the hole back up, smoothed it out, and then sat down for a long time. When I stand up, the wind brushes past my skin. As light as a hug from someone who is no longer here. Are you happy? You're no longer the woman waiting for me at the door. But if there is a next life, I hope we can meet again sooner and at a more appropriate time. She said that and then turned her back to walk into the house. Don't look back. Because what lies ahead is a more real life. More clear and fuller than ever.